Running your own business can be lonely, finding reliable professionals difficult, and generating new business challenging, but not when you have a business network. NewGen Networking provides its members with new and exciting business opportunities, with the chance to build lasting relationships with vetted businesses who can act as your sales team and solve the issue of who to turn to in your hour of need. With a range of flexible and affordable solutions, NewGen apply tried and tested principles in a modern way to suit today's world. To find the right option for your business, visit newgen-networking.com or call 03333 600 680. NewGen Networking. New business, new contacts, a new generation of networking. You're listening to the NewGen podcast exclusively on the Pod Station. Here is an interview with one of our members from the Vinci Hub.
Right, morning everybody. Welcome to NewGen. Welcome to our podcast. And for our audience, welcome to Mark Latham from Utopia Marketing. Round of applause. Good morning, Mark.
Hello, David.
How are you?
Splendid. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Good to have you on the podcast.
So soon?
I know. It seems like only this morning.
Loving the beard.
Thank you very much. I love yours too.
Thank you.
So, Utopia Marketing. What's your main focus and what is it you do?
We're a full-service marketing company, which means that we get involved in all aspects of the marketing process. So I would say the entry level would be print solutions. Okay. But we get bogged down and pigeonholed as just that. And that would be a mistake because we're far more than just that. We mix and blend psychology, technology and marketing together to mean that the client benefits, to identify who the client is, why the client buys, where they buy, when they buy, and what's the motivator for the buying. Okay,
and is it about building a brand for someone? Is that what it's about?
We work very closely with Funky Vibes Marketing, and they do all that branding stuff. So we then continue that brand awareness.
So you'll take the brand and
we do it in a clever way. Okay. So we create stories for people, and everyone's got a story. People like talking about themselves, so we take that story and we get it all over the UK.
Okay. And tell us about guerrilla marketing then.
So guerrilla marketing is a phrase used. It's nothing to do with apes. No. It's a technique used to very quickly, a bit like SAS stuff, is to capitalise on an idea or an event or something that's happened using a clever way of getting that message across. So, for example, it could be putting chalk onto the paving stones of a busy high street with a message of your brand. We use psychology, so everything I do and say is meticulously thought out, and it's purposely said to gauge people's responses. Okay. So I can profile people. So you see those responses and you identify and profile those people. Okay. And we develop that into marketing strategy. Okay. And
so if someone's doing something like that, the guerrilla marketing, they could just go and do it themselves. I suppose it's got to be done legally. Maybe not.
On the fringe.
Right. Well, you'll do all that bit of research, will you? And
yeah, it's just tapping into the creative and thinking about what you can achieve on the back of something that's happened. So, for example, with the Will Smith event, I did a stunt recently that tied into that because it was already in people's mind. So when you continue that will never be forgotten. No. That's imprinted. So we imprint, we anchor, we prime people. So I'll be saying things over a course of a period of time. I might wear certain clothing over a course of a few weeks. So I'm priming people. Right. I'll anchor stuff, so I'll say the same thing. I'll ask the same questions the same time in exactly the same way, and people will answer it differently. There's a lot of things people think that when you fold your arms, you're being defensive. It's not. It's self-soothing. You are watching all these micro emotions, and we use NLP, and we blend all that together using the technology, which is our digital signage. We can control the content that goes onto billboards and things like that. People can buy or hire our services, and then we just put that together into a campaign so your brand is cleverly out there.
And tell us about these digital displays you've got, because you're doing quite a lot of those at the moment, aren't you?
They're just a way in which, again, you can control the content. So if you wanted to imprint a particular message on something that you've continued from a social media campaign, you've got your brand, you're then trying to translate that into a customer who wants to buy your product or service. So can you do that in a way that's memorable? So you'll use the digital screens to do that. You might have a billboard campaign. I mean, if you think, remember the Gozard bra thing was creating car crashes because people were looking at the billboard.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, but just it can be changed.
Yeah, it's used in a clever way to be remembered that doesn't have to take up loads of space. So you think about Apple, they just will basically pay for a billboard that just has the picture of the phone, because white space, negative space sells.
Right,
people get terrified and think they have to fill
it up.
Yeah, I suppose 30 seconds is probably the duration people remember. If you use the memory curve, they've forgotten most of it within the first 30 minutes. So you need to be impactful.
So what sort of companies will use those digital displays then? Is there any particular ones?
The ones... That's a really good question, David, and I think the answer to that is any company that is already out in the marketplace, so you sort of travel agents, estate agents, I would even say recruitment companies, cinemas, event companies. There's so many ways and means to get your message across in a clever way, and if you have multiple displays, you can time them and target a specific area. So I sometimes use McDonald's as an example. They have different menus at different times of the day. So you can, because we can control through proprietary software anywhere in the world what goes on to the vertical screens, we can change the time. So it could be you're, selling a holiday for a cruise, and you sell all those spaces very quickly through liaison with the clients. The content management aspect, we can change that to a holiday in Spain.
Right, quite quickly, and react to the market and stuff.
But and it's anywhere in the country. So if you think that if you know your customer and you've developed that understanding of where they are and why they buy it, that's anywhere in the country. Yeah. So you can have a campaign that follows fluidly from start to finish your client's journey. Yeah. So you find the area of greatest impact, and you are where your client is.
And then you're not just printing loads of leaflets,
no.
which will, there might be a load left after the campaign. You're actually targeting the people.
Well, talking myself out of business there, but the print thing, people just do blanket marketing. They never know how it works. No. They don't know who has responded because you don't know who lives at the house. Yeah. You don't always have the sensor information, which is out of date anyway. So you could be dropping off a leaflet into someone's house for someone who isn't your customer, whereas a lot of people don't even track. They spend a lot of money and they go, I don't know whether it's working. Yeah. It's not alchemy, but it is magical because you can follow it through and say, well, actually, who did you put a QR code on there, and feed it back and say, well, where did you hear about us? Yeah. And they say, I saw you on a bus side, or I saw you in the underground, or I saw you in the Liverpool Street station, which has over 40 million people. Yeah.
And I suppose that's just as important as knowing who's seen it, whether they're interacting, so campaigns going forward.
Absolutely. It's measurable then. And then your return on investment is, well, did we spend a lot of money on marketing? Yes, we did, but actually we tripled our turnover, and we know it works. Because a lot of people just think marketing is a thing that people don't need, and in a economic downturn, people stop marketing, and any marketer will tell you should market all the time, even when it's quiet, because they're the times you want to get new customers. And Walt Disney, think about all the big companies constantly battering marketing.
So do you think it's best to be subtle rather than in your face? Or
I think it depends on the client. So, for example, tradesmen, bricklayers and joiners and things like that aren't going to be doing huge campaigns across the country because their business is local. And that's not always the area of creativity you want to be dwelling in. That's where a print solution might be beneficial. In relation to the bigger companies, they've got the budget. Their clients are probably the ultimate decision makers who are travelling. So if you take the A41 to go towards Liverpool, 100,000 people pass down the A41 every morning, go into Liverpool, because more people work in Liverpool from the Wirral side. So if you've got a billboard there, or you've got a prime location, your chances of getting an ultimate decision maker who's travelling to Liverpool is your prime location, and you can measure that because you'll ask them where you heard or saw the advert.
And is there any big companies you've worked with where you've been interesting things you've done for big companies?
Yeah, we've done some for an events company / theatre company who was doing events at St George's Hall.
Okay.
And we did the campaign for them on the
Yeah.
trains, and we sold out 15,000 tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you think if they wouldn't have done that marketing, it probably wouldn't have been successful?
They were going to get their friends to do it, but we put together a proper marketing plan and said, if you implement these things, you will get more people coming out. And we measured it, and so they were able to get geographical statistics, so they knew how many people travelled from Southport, Ormskirk, Liverpool, all those areas, and quantify that into actual metrics. And we then took that forward for the next event that they did, which also sold out.
Right,
so they made about 50, 60 grand profit.
Yeah.
And the budget was really small as well, so it wasn't a massive outlay.
Okay, excellent. And so would that be good referrals for you? Would be
Yes, absolutely.
Theatre companies? And
Yeah, so big
people
companies
putting on
like
events like, I don't know,
well,
festivals and stuff like that.
we were going to do, before COVID hit, the plague happened, we were going to be doing the Passion, which was going to be the biggest event in Liverpool at the time, with a budget of 20 grand.
Yeah.
And the COVID killed it off.
Kibosh that.
Pardon
But that's
the
all
pun.
coming back now, so...
What, COVID?
No, that's not. Well, events are coming back.
And
so,
COVID might be.
And COVID might come
COVID
back.
22. Let's have it.
Events and sort of theatres and all that are all coming back, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a slow thing, and people obviously need to have the confidence and comfortability of being able to... Is that even a word? Don't care.
But,
Comfortability, I'm having it, hashtag. Let's have that trending.
yeah.
But that's the thing, people will slowly get back to the marketplace, but they also... Again, marketing's one of these non-tangible things that people don't really understand. They think they do, but
they've
they don't.
always got a mate who can do a little bit.
Yeah, they've got some the kids who've got a box of crayons.
Yeah.
And it can cost them, so they spend more money faffing around because their nephew's got a box of crayons has done their logo for them.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, and it looks bad.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why no one came
Why
back.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
So, well, Mark, thanks for your time on the
Always
podcast.
a pleasure, never a show.
Round of applause, Mark Latham, Utopia Marketing.
If you would like to visit one of our online or face-to-face hubs, visit NewGen-networking.com and book a place. Get social at Network NewGen on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn.